And welcome back to the show where we've got a very special guest on the show right now because, of course, Luca Brasi are about to kick off their World Don't Owe You Anything album tour where they're heading right around Australia. So we actually thought we would get Tyler on the phone today to chat a little bit about this amazing tour. Welcome to the program, mate.
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Now, mate, a lot of our listeners out there love your music. We know that because we get a lot of requests for your music on this show. So, how does it feel being able to get back out there on the road and do this amazing tour around Oz?
Mate, it's always the best. The reason we want to be in this band, the reason we've always wanted to be in the band was to play live shows and to tour. So to get back out and to tour these songs is just the best thing ever. We're so stoked.
So the album was an absolutely spectacular album. Tell us a little bit about how you feel now that the album is out there, and how do you feel these tracks are going to go live?
Mate, it's always so weird to put all this time and effort into making a record. Years of work, and then all of a sudden it's distilled into 10 songs. And then you put it out, and you just really, you hope and wonder if it's going to connect, and get a chance to tour and see. People's reaction to it is always the best part. We haven't actually toured a lot since the record came out. I've had to move states to look after my little boy, but he's doing really well, and we get a chance to tour. So we played a few festivals in between, and some of these songs have gone down so well live. So that reaction is just, it's incredible.
How has that changed things for you as well, moving states? Has that been an interesting move for you?
Yeah, just so different, man. Like so sudden, and just a really crazy, how the way life works sometimes. Really reflective time too. Like it makes you work out what your priorities are, and it makes you realize, for me too, why I wanted to be in this band and why I still love playing music, because you really miss it. It's a big part of your life.
You mentioned earlier that was the whole reason, like, you guys formed this band was to get out there and play live. What is it that you guys like about playing live so much?
I think it's just that connection, man, to see that special moment where people sing those words back to you that you either killed yourself writing, like, hammered all this time over it, or you just blurted it out. But to see that connect with someone and to resonate is just an incredible feeling that you can't replicate anywhere else.
How hard was it to do live shows in the early days? Because I grew up in Tassie as well. I grew up in Latrobe, in the northern end of Tassie, and I know that there wasn't much of a live music scene, even in Devonport, which was our next biggest town. What was that like for you guys getting that start in Tassie and getting out there and doing live shows?
Mate, I didn't know you're a fellow countryman, but it was hard. Like there was nothing, like you said, there wasn't a lot going on. We had to make our own scene and to make our own shows and make something happen, which is kind of a reflection of the album title just being, like, after all this time thinking, like, if you don't create something and nothing's happening for you, you actually have to go and make it. So, that's what I had to do in Launceston in the early days.
So is that why you still like going to towns like Newcastle and also Gold Coast and even Canberra that quite often get left off bands' tour lists? Is that why you guys still like going to towns like that, so that they get that opportunity to experience live music that those of us now in Melbourne and Sydney get to experience all the time?
Mate, absolutely. It's always been really important to us to go back to those places because, like you said, you grew up in Latrobe, I grew up in bloody St. Helens, like even further from anything. So, like, it sucks that those people sometimes miss out. So it's really nice to go and reconnect and just give those people the same opportunities that I think everyone really deserves.
One of the things I find with your music is so personal, and I know a lot of people out there who listen to your music and can relate to the tracks. Do you get a lot of people coming up to you after shows, talking to you about your lyrics and how it's helped them and helped them get through tough times?
We do, mate, and I have, like, whether it shows or through Instagram or whatever the case may be. Yeah, it's really lovely. Sometimes it's really heavy. You get a lot of really deeply personal stuff that's happened. But then you get wonderful stuff. I've seen a hell of a lot of Luca Brasi tattoos. I've handwritten a bunch of lyrics for people to get tattooed, and stuff like that is so permanent and so personal, and that's a pretty incredible feeling to have, man. Like that's so much more important than anything else. It's those personal connections we made.
How do you deal with it when it's really deep? Like, I was talking to a musician recently, a friend of mine, and he said that a girl came up to him after one of his shows and said, listening to one of your songs stopped me from killing myself. And he said it was just one of those moments where he just didn't know how to react. But, like, how do you put yourself in those positions? Like, how do you find yourself when you're in that position and someone tells you something really deep like that?
I think the thing, I've had the similar situations, man, but like I think it's just really important that if you can, like it's can be really triggering for people too, but to listen to the story and just to, it can be just enough just to be a sounding board. Like you don't really have to say a hell of a lot back, but to be there and to listen and to, let that person know how much you've appreciated it and that, that they are, they're worthwhile. It's just such a crazy thing, man.
So, from this tour, what can people expect to hear from you guys? What are you looking at set list wise for this tour?
A mix of old and new. We really want to make sure we smash a bunch in the new record, but we can't miss the bloody the hits, as it were. As well, I guess, man. We always try and sprinkle a bunch from all the records across the whole thing.
It must be getting harder for you guys, though, to put together a set list, because like this is the 6th album, which has crept up so quickly. It must be difficult for you guys now to be able to work out a set list and incorporate the old and the new.
It is, man. It's hard. I don't know how the hell we have 70 odd songs out in the world all of a sudden. Like I don't know where time has gone, but you're so right. Like some you need to be really harsh about and scrub them off, and there's some you obviously can't miss, but then it's kind of a mix between, I really want to play that one we haven't played for ages, or I love the way that one feels going into the next song, or something like that. That's the stuff that you have to think about now, I guess, with so many songs.
Yeah, and of course you're touring with Spanish Love Songs. Tell us a little bit about them. Like, they're a band, I have to admit, I haven't been quite across so far, so tell us a little bit about Spanish Love Songs.
They're an American band they're from LA. We have talked a lot over the last few years on Instagram and the internet, just saying that, we love each other's work and it'd be awesome to tour together. They play a pretty similar kind of style. They're an awesome band. They've got great songs. We really connected with their last record especially. And it just worked this time to get them out here. So it's just a really good pairing thematically, I think, for these guys too.
And is that going to work vice versa for you guys as well? Are you going to go across and do a US tour with them?
We actually have never toured the US. We've done a lot in the UK and Europe. So if we've always managed to do this little leveraging thing, like you just mentioned, with bringing a band out and going back there. So I bloody hope so. Touring the US is really hard. You're such a drop in the ocean there. So we'd love to.
Yeah, I guess some advice for young musicians out there. How difficult is that to get noticed in the US? Because I know a lot of Aussie bands, like you said, it's a lot easier to get a following in Europe or UK. What makes it so difficult to get that following in the US? Is it just that their market is so flooded?
Yeah, I think that's a really big part of it, man. It's such a huge place. In Europe and whatever, you can do those overnight drives, maybe 10 or 12 hours. But in the States, we're talking like often 20 sort of hour drives, to be market cities where it's a lot harder to get good pulls. So the easier option a lot of the time is to go to Europe. You're right, it's such a big, big market and you're dropping the ocean. So it's just been easier for us to go, to Europe and the UK, to be honest.
Yeah. So you've got the shows coming up, the album is out. What have you guys got planned for the rest of this year now? Are you looking to knuckle down and work on another album, do more shows later in the year? What are the plans?
Back on the road, and somehow we've started writing songs again, man. I don't know what keeps happening, but we just seem to keep bloody churning out songs. It's never even like a thing we talk about. It's all of a sudden, hey, I've got this idea, and then all of a sudden it's like, shit, we just wrote another record. So I don't know how 13 years has gone past so fast, but we'll just keep doing what we do if people are lovely enough to come and listen to it, man.
Yeah, even going back like 13 years, like it seems like I can remember your first music coming into, I was working at Heavy at the time, and I remember your music coming in and like being listened to in the office. Do you have to pinch yourself that it's 13 years? Because it doesn't feel like 13 years.
That's it, man. I still feel like a 20-year-old kid writing those songs. I can't believe that somehow keep doing this. It's so wild, man.
Yeah, man. Well, mate, I am
Crazy.
I am so excited about these shows that are coming up. I can't wait to be able to check you guys out in Melbourne. So I guess to finish off, what would you like to say to people out there who are thinking about heading along to these shows, or people that have already got tickets to these shows?
If you don't have tickets, please just bloody pop along and have a ripper time. If you do have tickets, thank you for spending your hard-earned money to come and see this aging bunch of morons play the instruments.
And for all the listeners out there, if you want to get dates and times for when these shows are, it's all up on the subcultureentertainment.com website, so make sure you check out our website for all of those details.